I saw John posted in chat. He wants to know if Marketplace is smart about default currency. For instance, his Stripe has the British pound sterling, not United States dollars.
It is. Yep. You can, I forget how it works specifically, but you put dollar number, like the number value inside of your ticket selector. And I'm 99% positive that Obvio's charge is based on your Stripe Connects account currency.
Awesome. All right. Are you ready for the next?
I am, yeah.
All right.
Sorry, I got distracted.
So Sandra wants to know, is there a short video on how to use Obvio? Right now, I can only find a long video where Blue is describing at the birth pains. Sorry. My website is broken. I need a place to host an event, so just need instructions, how or why to use it. I can post one of those for you, Sandra. Next one's from Raphael. I can't make the logo stay in the center of the emails and broadcast.
Does it help you if I tell you I can't make buttons appear in my broadcasts? Probably not. I would just say that my guess is you're actually centering the image properly and it's just not working. So that feels like a bug. Would you do me a favor, Raphael, and just take a screenshot of it, email it to help@obv.io, and we'll have the dev team get on it. James, actually, that feels like something you could tackle. Thank you.
All right. Raphael, another question. Can I have a different Stripe account for each event or organization?
You can have a different Stripe account for each organization. Each event inside of an organization is tied to the organization's Stripe account, but each organization has its own connection point. So even if you want the same organization or two organizations to be connected to the same Stripe account, you can do that, but you actually have to connect them manually because the Stripe connection is organization based.
All right.
I've got a question. Blue, what's going on with your camera? It's upsetting me.
You know, my normal camera is in a bag. Actually, the normal camera is here. I don't have my tripod. It's I was away for a week. I took the camera and the tripod with me, and that was admittedly 2 weeks ago. And I haven't put it back on my desk. So if it helps, I did. This is the little. Is it
a stage one, or is it a?
No, it's the link.
Okay.
Yeah, which sometimes it does great, and sometimes there we go. It's moving a little bit. So it's too high on my screen. It's a horrible shot. I know. I should do better. I'm sorry.
Well, it's only that I miss the eye contact every now and again. Just get a little. Oh, you've got a parcel. An organization. See, we get so much more detail about what's going on, who's walking past.
I know.
Great. Hello, everyone. Sorry, I was a little late.
You don't get to give me a hard time when you were late. I forgot about that.
I thought about that, but it is the first time in this new time zone, and that threw me a little bit.
Have you moved?
The time zone?
It's just like it's like daylight savings time. Is that what you're saying? That's what's going on.
6:30 in the morning.
Okay, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
All right. Next question.
All right. Grant, we fired you, by the way, for showing up late.
Thank you. Yeah.
That means you can go back to sleep. Thank goodness.
I'm here for free.
So Renee wants to know, is it okay to ask a question about business building with Obvio? Also, can I get access to the email automation?
Yeah. Okay. So you can ask any questions you want, Renee. And let me start by saying we generally answer platform-based questions during the first half, and then the topics kind of go wherever you guys take them in the second half of the call, depending on how many questions we've got. The other day, admittedly, it was on a morning call. I think 20 minutes in, we had exhausted our questions, and Grant and I still somehow managed to fill a full 2 hours. So all questions. No, don't wait till the second half. Just ask it. And if I want to wait till the second half to answer it, I'll tell Heather. Heather, we're going to wait till the second half for that one. So I see a bunch of you joined since I kind of welcomed you to start the call. Here, Grant, I'll look up at the camera thing that's way up in the sky. So welcome to the Obvio Q&A call. If you're just joining us, a couple things that I want to share with you as a starting point, because I know that I see some new faces. If this is your first time on the Q&A calls, these are open Q&A calls. There is no limit to what the question is that you can ask, just as Renee just discovered. And not only that, but you can ask questions that are as complicated or as simple as you want. Please don't be intimidated by somebody who's been here 20 times and is asking a complex question. Those aren't the only questions we're here to answer. Some of you may just be like, I just logged into Obvio for the first time and I don't know how to create an event. How do I do that? All I see is this organization page. Okay, so seriously, no limits to the questions that you ask. My only request is that you go to the dashboard and click the Ask a Question button and submit your questions there, because Heather is moderating the questions and keeping track of them all as they come in. And yeah, there you go. So next question.
Did we want to answer hers or wait till later?
I don't know. I don't know what the question is.
Renee, do you want to unmute and ask the question?
Yeah, thank you. I wasn't sure if that was okay. It's my first time on this call. Thank you.
You're welcome. What's up?
So I wanted to see, do people use Obvio and this platform to like build a event agency? Is that something like, I know you guys are dealing with people kind of on a big macro level, like the Tony Robbins of the world, but I have a marketing agency of, party of one, just me, and I have an event background, and I wanted to offer this as a service to co-host for people.
Yep. So what I'll say to you is we have several people. I can count kind of in my head 5 or 6 users that I know of for certain are essentially providing virtual event services to their clients and using Obvio as the dashboard mechanism that they're creating or that they're using. There is no user limitation, or there's no limitation on you, the user, for how many events you have or who those events technically are for. So there's some people who I think are doing pretty well producing virtual events on top of the platform. Honestly, Sage being one of them. Right? Because we built the platform really for us as a company and are lucky enough that it scales nicely for you as well. So the only thing that I'll say to you is there is one limitation of the Obvio Pro license, which is what the free trial provides you with, which is you can only have 3 organizations inside your system, inside the platform. And that may or may not matter to you, but if you're going to be doing this from an agency perspective and you're going to have, let's say, 10 clients that you're producing virtual events for, you may want each of those clients to have their own organization. The reason why is within those organizations, you can invite team members to collaborate on the dashboard creation experience. And you're probably not going to want your clients from company one seeing and being able to interact with details from your company 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 or 10 dashboards. right? So that's why, I mean, that's why there's organizations inside of Obvio so that you can have that segmentation. And it's something that Sage uses, you know, all the time. When you look at my account, if I go to my account, I'll tell you, well, I have a global account, so I see a lot of things, but you may notice on mine, there's all of these bracketed organizations. Every single one of these are organizations that are Sage-based clients, right? So I have, you know, we have a ton of organizations. And if I go into, you know, this is Jeff Walker's, he's got an event coming up shortly. You know, this is all the Jeff Walker events. And inside of that team, I have only the Jeff Walker team is able to log in and see that, right? So when they log in to their Obvio account that I've invited them to the Jeff Walker or the Internet Alchemy organization for, all they can see is that. They don't see the Tony Robbins, they don't see the Amy Porterfield, they don't see the Pedro Deo, the whatever else, right? All they see is their stuff. So we built Obvio with us in mind. And, you know, at our core, we're, you know, it's an agency model for us, right? It's a service-based business. So you can 100% do that. You may want to, depending on how well this goes for you, consider upgrading to the enterprise version, which gives you unlimited organizations. That's one of the features of it. So you don't have to worry about managing 3 organizations. So
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And then the email automation, I know on one of the calls you said if you want access to it, ask for it on a Q&A call.
Yeah. So just email us at help@obv.io and give us the email address that is connected to your account, just in case you're sending us an email from a different email address. And say, this is my email address for my account. Can you please give me access to Marketplace and communication, or just communication if you don't want Marketplace?
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Blue.
You're welcome. Yeah, they're in closed beta. I mean, even as I was doing that demo earlier today, you saw some little tweaks that were a little funky. You know, so it's just not openly available to anybody, but anybody who wants to use it, it's available to, if that makes sense. You just have to ask.
All right. So Genevieve wants to know, I have not been in here in a long time. How do I figure out if I still have access or see current setup or how many tokens I have? Or is there a marketing page that summarizes the current information?
Great questions. Okay, Genevieve, first off, to find out if you still have access, just email us, help@obv.io. Give us the email address that you think your account is associated with. We can look that up for you, or you can log in. And when you log in, you should be able to, if you click on your account name and you go to billing, if you still have access, you will see a cancel option. If you don't have access, you'll see a subscribe option across all 3 options. So that's probably the easiest way to define whether or not you have a plan with Obvio. Beyond that, the question that you asked about credits, hopefully this will make you happy. We've made some pretty significant changes to the billing mechanism inside of Obvio. Credits no longer exist. You can now do unlimited events for up to 500 people of unlimited duration for the Obvio Pro account. Which is what 99% of our users have. If you have something other than Obvio Pro, Enterprise has more access, Essentials or Basic has less. So just let us know. But most of you all have Obvio Pro. I think that was the core of the questions. Did I miss anything?
I think, sorry, I think Genevieve was or is a part of LEAP. And so was that right, Genevieve? Were you in the LEAP program?
Are you still in
Still
LEAP,
up?
Genevieve? I don't remember. No. Okay. So if you're not still in Leap, generally speaking, you have access, unless there's an exception where you purchased Obvio and then joined Leap like after that, and then you left Leap, you should technically still have access to Obvio for the duration of what you purchased. And if that's not the case, just reach out to us and let us know. If you never purchased Obvio, you shouldn't have access to Obvio anymore. Yeah, but if you do, I guess don't tell us. Yeah, just but I don't have the ability to, in a easy fashion, look up your account on these calls. But if you reach out to help@obv.io, we can get you sorted.
All right. Melanie wants to know, how do we connect Obvio with ClickFunnels, and how do we get opt-in for events into Obvio?
Great question. Okay, so Melanie, how you do that, ClickFunnels, we don't have a native integration with ClickFunnels. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use Zapier to connect your ClickFunnels opt-in page to Obvio. Obvio has native Zapier integration. If you're not familiar with Zapier, Zapier is a tool that allows you to, without writing code, connect two different services that have integration with Zapier. And Zapier has about, 1,600 different service integrations on their platform, ClickFunnels being one of them, and Obvio being another one. So you can create a Zap, which is what the little programs are that you create with Zapier, and essentially zap your contacts information from ClickFunnels over to Obvio. So I would start with that as a concept. I can show you. Feel like I can show you what a Zap here, or what a Zap with give me 1 second. Let me find it. What a Zap with ClickFunnels potentially looks like. I just have to find one, just so that you can see it. Sorry, give me 1, 2, 3, or 10 seconds. I may not.
Hey, Zapier, for those that haven't used Zapier very much or know of it, it's a very powerful kind of glue, internet glue, connecting different services that are online, and there's literally thousands of them. And so, in the way that we use it, what happens is Obvio is an app within Zapier, and so it makes it available to receive when you can push an attendee into Obvio from Zapier. And so all it's doing is it's taking a first name, a last name, and an email address from whatever service you have connected to Zapier. It takes that, it pushes it into Obvio, and then Obvio replies with the login link of for that attendee. So it creates the attendee and creates the login link and sends that back to Zapier. And then you, when you're designing the Zap, decide where that goes. And so you're probably then pushing that back into some CRM, system that you've got. And that way you're then, whatever big system you might have for managing your clients or customers ongoing, can be tied in beautifully with Obvio. And so you could have some sort of registration form. Sometimes people have much more complex systems for signing people up, or they have subscriptions, and so some people can buy a one-off event with Obvio, for example, or they could be automatically sort of grandfathered in for all the events that happen that year. And you can do all that in your CRM, and then have it so that the process steps through, creates the user in the Obvio event, and then Obvio sends back the login link. And now you can use your CRM to send the emails out with that login link rather than using broadcast. So just so you understand, I guess, to where we've positioned our broadcast system within Obvio, is just really at the basic level. We're never going to take on trying to be Keep or try to with ClickFunnels. We're not trying to be ClickFunnels with our marketplace system either. We're just doing very basic marketplace purchasing and very basic email sending out. If you want to do more complex and ongoing and lots of those things, then we encourage you to use all those systems, which is why we have a couple of native integrations with things, as well as Zapier, which can do lots of those, picks up all those other ones that we haven't got native interaction. But I've used Zapier on quite a lot of events and been super happy with it. It's worth just remembering too that with any of these systems, any automated systems, anything where multiple computers are talking in the sky and talking to each other, that you keep monitoring it yourself. Like you keep double checking and making sure that all the status lights are looking good and that everything's working. And it'll do the work for you.
So this is what a Zap would look like from ClickFunnels over to Obvio. You would create a Zap that is a new contact activity inside of ClickFunnels. You'll connect your ClickFunnels account to Zapier, and then you'll pick the funnel as well as the funnel step that is your opt-in page. And that's going to then bring in contact details as people register for your event by opting in. Then you can, so that in Zapier, the first step, right? The thing that starts the Zap is called a trigger. So the trigger in this case is going to be a new contact activity in ClickFunnels. Then the action in this particular case is going to be to create an attendee in Obvio. And that's the root of it. There's a few more steps that you could potentially take. But then once this is turned on and published, which I'm not going to do in this case, but once this is turned on and published, as people opt into your event by opting into the ClickFunnels opt-in funnel, or if the step that you chose is your purchase page, it could be as they purchase on ClickFunnels, right? So it doesn't just have to be an opt-in. The same thing applies if you want to sell a ticket on ClickFunnels. And then you just have that first action be to create your attendee in Obvio in the event that you want to create it in.
All right. The next one is from Amy. Can Blue walk through how to share my Obvio to my friends who might want to use it, or do I just copy the URL and say, here, try this?
Let's see. Amy, what do you mean by that? Or are you like, hey, I bought this platform. You can do your events on it too. Is that what you mean? If that's what you mean, then I'll say, why don't you send them to go sign up for the platform? But
that's what I mean is how do I say, hey, this is really cool. You should sign up for it.
Awesome. So thank you for that. What I'll say as a starting point is if you were on the call that I did yesterday for the onboarding of some new users, I shared with them that our biggest challenge right now as a platform is our documentation sucks. And I'll tell you our second biggest problem as a platform is that we don't have a marketing site. So as of today, you could send them to go to onefreemonth.com, but there's no information on that page. That's the only challenge with this, right? Like when it's an order form is really all it is, right? If I go to onefreemonth.com, I get, actually, I'm going to get straight into Obvio because I'm already logged in. But if I go to onefreemonth.com, it's just an order form. They're not going to know what they're buying, right? So I will tell you that I say in the not so distant future a lot, but in my mind, the not so distant future is sometime in the next 6 months, hopefully less. We will actually have an opt-in page. an actual page where people can sign up, and while they're signing up, get information about what the heck they're signing up for. And then once that's in place, you guys may see from time to time when I am navigating around, if I click on my name, you guys see this black bar up at the top, and you're like, hey, wait a second, I don't have that. This little share Obvio button right here. When you guys click on your name, which is your account menu, you don't have this, but it's in here. It's just not turned on for everybody just yet. And what that is a referral system. So you're going to be able to log in here and grab a referral link. And that referral link will allow people, that's what you should share with your attendees or with your people to use Obvio, because what you see here is you get 30% recurring commission for referring customers to Obvio subscriptions.
That's what I was talking about, because you'd mentioned it the other day.
Yeah, it's in the system, and it's all working. You can see that I've been playing around with it. I've got 2 customers, right? 2 referrals. I've got a few clicks. You're then going to be able to come in here and get some detail as to who those people are. Of course, in my case, they're both me. Yeah, for now, you don't have this share Obvio link, but that will be turned on as soon as we get out of our own way and create a sales page for the platform. And then not only can you share it out of the goodness of your heart, you can also share it for the goodness of your wallet. Welcome.
All right. So Craig wants to know, can this platform be used to host video podcasts?
Live video podcasts? Or
yes. Blue,
Sure.
just
Yeah.
brainstorming. Yes.
Yeah. So the platform is anything that you can think of to do inside of Zoom Live, the platform can be used for. What the platform doesn't have, I'm going to go marginally geeky on you for half a moment. If you're trying to create a traditional podcast, something that people can subscribe to inside the podcast app on their phone or something along those lines, that requires a different type of system, different type of service that actually creates the feed for those software platforms to receive the XML. It's an XML feed, I think. But basically, there are services out there that are dedicated to hosting podcasts that allow you to do that and are much better served than Obvio is. Now, if you want to do something where Obvio is where you host the live version of your podcast and you record stuff and then you take that video and you transfer it over to Libsyn or something along those lines that hosts the podcast for you in perpetuity, that's something that you could potentially do. But I just keep in mind, if the end result goal is to really have a podcast that's listed on like the Apple podcast directory, you're going to need something more.
Okay, super. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'd just add on that. So there's definitely a good model of having your community, like the podcast community, and potentially their subscribers. You know, you could have people that they subscribe and they get access to be able to watch the live recordings of the podcast. And so then they're able to ask questions and things like that at the end, perhaps, things like that. And then the event, the Obvio event, it could be the same event that just continues. It sort of happens every week or however often you do the podcast. And you can post back onto the dashboard. You could post those videos, and then perhaps they're the raw recording. And because they're the inside community, they get access to those raw recordings, which has a bit of pre-show and post-show, banter, and people love that sort of stuff. And so that could be recorded, and then that they're taken, and you take the recordings or you record it yourself locally, and then you put it onto YouTube or Vimeo or whatever, and post them into your dashboard. And so now it's a thing that we never really intended Obvio for, but actually works quite well, is the dashboard becoming a home that exists before and during and after your event. And it sort of becomes this place for people to come back and access the different content. And so those podcast recordings or those raw recordings could be posted there. And that was a way that people can access those. So yeah, it's definitely a way to do it. And then, as Blue's saying, actually publishing the podcast could be a totally different thing. And YouTube, it's worth noting too that YouTube are pushing into this area of podcasts a bit more. And so if you look at some of the YouTube creators, podcast creators, something like that, they're really trying to take on podcasts more than just standard people posting videos that are podcasts. They're actually creating a bunch of tools that are around for podcasters. So it's worth looking at that, but it could definitely work hand in hand with Obvio, and particularly around a community, and whether it's paid or not, right? You actually have your key community that has access to watching your live recording of your podcast. And then just from another technical point of view, because you bring everyone in like this, and you can see their faces and things like that, then you just want to, in the meeting settings of Zoom, you would want to set your security to make sure that they can't unmute themselves, and they can't share their screens, right? So that so that then you can make sure that you can do your recording without any interruption, and then have a point where they can maybe they can ask questions and unmute and talk, or they just post questions in the chat or things like that. So
Perfect.
But it's definitely a great way of having a community and being able to see them, like we're doing now. There's a feeling, the feeling changes even when you're doing a one-on-one interview podcast, to have another 20, 30 people that are watching and laughing at the appropriate times or things like that, then that really helps. So
You bet. Yep. Thanks for the tips. I appreciate it. Thanks, Grant.
sure. No worries. What's next?
All right. Marley wants to know if you can please remind me what the purpose or use of applied groups is.
What?
Applied
Groups and tags?
Yes.
Applied.
Yeah. So groups are a way to identify attendees inside of your platform, inside of your event. Think of them. Another word for groups could be custom fields. Okay, so if you've ever gone into another platform like Keep or MailChimp or HubSpot or ActiveCampaign or ConvertKit or whatever, they all have your standard fields, right? First name, last name, email, phone, address, things like that. But then they all, generally speaking, have the ability to add custom fields like birthday or, sister's cousin's mother or whatever you want. Obvio has the same functionality. We call it groups because it's a way to group your attendees, but it's essentially the same thing. And ways that you could use that, I'll tell you one way that we've used it fairly effectively, and this is just one of like a gazillion ideas as to how you can use groups. But when we did our last virtual event, one of the things that we did, you guys know this, we send out a swag box via FedEx to all of our attendees. And one of the biggest questions that we always get in our help desk is, where's my swag box? I haven't received it yet, right? Because we try to make sure that those swag boxes arrive the day before the event. So in our attendee list, we imported a group called tracking number, and which is just a custom field. And then what we did for each of our attendees that we imported, we attached their tracking number into that group field. And then what we did is everybody has this one group called tracking number, and their data within that is different, right? Kind of like their name, their first name, last name, email, tracking number. They had that as well. We then put on their dashboard their tracking number so that they could see it, because you can actually embed group data into blog posts or into buttons or things like that. So that's one way. I'll tell you another way that we just did something. The list of attendees that we imported into a client event that's happening this weekend includes a time for a one-on-one appointment with one of their certified coaches. So we have a group called appointment time. And that appointment time is embedded into the button name on their dashboard. So it says join your appointment at, and then it has the time, and it's dynamic, right? It's custom to each attendee. So those are a couple different ways that we've used them. Again, that's a little bit of an advanced move, but it's something to start thinking about. You know, one of the really powerful things about Obvio as a platform is how you can customize the experience for your attendees based on this type of information. And once you start thinking about it, I'm not suggesting that you do either of those two things, but once you start thinking about it, now all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, what happens if I knew everybody in my event whose favorite color was blue, as an example? Well, then you could have a blog post on the dashboard that is a welcome post that is written in blue text for some reason. But let's just say that. You could do that and have everybody else's blog post written in black text. I don't know why you would do that, but it is something you could do. So you can just start being creative with things and messing around. And if you have any questions or ideas around something and you'd like to know if we think it's a good idea, not that our not that what we say is the end all and be all and end all, but you know, we have a good amount of experience with events, and we're more than happy to share our opinion.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I was actually curious when you were doing the example earlier in the tickets, like if I have a VIP ticket, do I apply like the tag? I guess I want to understand like the difference between the tag and the applied group, right? So there was group and group value. I didn't really understand what the group value.
The group is the name of the group. The group value is what is the value for that particular attendee, right? So in the example of FedEx tracking number, right? The group is tracking number. The value is the actual number. That's the tracking number.
Okay.
Right. So the group name is what is the same for everybody, but the value is what changes attendee to attendee.
Got it. And as it relates to like ticket purchases, right? Like in the marketplace, and if I have a VIP ticket, the group name would be VIP, and the ticket value is it the cost of that VIP ticket?
No, I wouldn't. So to be frank, I prefer tags to groups.
Okay.
So I would just apply a VIP tag to anybody who's a VIP. I'd apply a GA tag to anybody who's a general admission ticket holder.
Great.
That's how I would do it. And don't worry about groups.
Great. That's what I was trying to get. I'm like, I don't think I need group, because if I just put a VIP tag, then
No, I applied both in my example, and you 100% do not need to do that.
Super. You know, I'm very elementary. We're like step one, keeping it as simple as possible. I want to know who my VIPs are so that I can on the dashboard put a specific button that only shows up for them for like a special session. And I can achieve that with a tag.
100%.
Super. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I would just add there is there's quite a lot of overlap of functionality between a group and a tag, but there is still things that generally you can achieve anything that a tag can do, you could achieve with a group in theory, except when it comes to integrating it with external systems. But the thing that's different is in the example that Blue gave about the tracking number, that's taking one group and referencing it once on the dashboard, and it's showing lots of different data based on what the data is stored in that group. A tag will never do that. A tag is one one piece of data, and generally you can't display a tag, right? You can't show the data within a tag, but you can reference it as far as a visibility rule. And that's where it becomes very powerful for tags. So you're thinking about, if this person has this tag, then show this. And just as another example of group, one way that I used it on an event was I put the state and country that people were in a small, in an abbreviated sense. I added that to a group. And then in the attendee labels section, where you can append something at the end of people's names in Zoom, I applied their state and country. And so now when you're sitting in Zoom, we could see exactly where people are from. And it worked really, really well. You cannot do that with a tag. You could do it with a tag if you were to then write a bunch of rules for every single state and country. So that's the example, right? Where you're taking data, putting it in one group field, and then referencing it once. And there's a couple of places where you can do that. And so the cool thing is, what this does is it starts moving the cogs in your head about, oh, maybe I could do this. And how do I make my dashboard even more dynamic? This is things that we talk about, as Blue said. How can you customize the dashboard for the individual's experience? And what's even cooler, I think, is when that changes mid-event. And so that could potentially be maybe an upgrade or something that they've paid for, and now they see something else on the page, or there's something about that makes them unique. They're a VIP, and so they get this access, and then on the last day they get something else, or depending on what they do. And thinking about, we love those sort of automated ways of doing things, where they've gone off and they've done something. And Blue's the other example of the booking a time slot. There was this whole complicated process that was easy for the attendee, but was tying all these different things together, which was really cool, because once it had happened, then they got to see something else on the dashboard. And so we're constantly thinking about those sorts of things that takes it from just being a static page with a Zoom button on it to actually being a dynamic, interesting, changing, helpful home for your event that ties it all together. And the more that you can encourage people back to it, that's why we have a point system, the gamification. That's why, all those things that encourage people to interact and explore your dashboard means that it makes the whole event more successful, really. But particularly if you've got sponsors, they'll be happy, because they're going to get points if the attendees go to their sponsor booth and they download a PDF and they go to their booth or things like that. Then that keeps your sponsors happy, and all of those sorts of things are really helpful. So, but yeah, happy to keep exploring different ideas as people have got. You might come up with a wacky idea. You think it's wacky, and it might just mean a little tweak that we need to add a new little feature. We'd be happy to explore that. So, yeah, nice. What's next?
Marley just also wants to confirm that we can now offer free tickets on the marketplace.
Yes, we can.
And then Jeff wants to know, he says he's entering the Obvio Zoom meetings via Maestro. Not sure if I said that right. However, it says that the room is offline. How do I enter?
Good question.
Are you familiar with what we're referring to there, Grant?
No, I haven't used it. I have heard of it, but I haven't used it. Tell me more.
Yeah, Maestro is essentially a Stream Deck app that allows control of Zoom and a number of production elements. It's by Inside the Show. So I have like the instructions on screen that were created with Obvio. One of the Obvio developers worked on this with Philippe, the founder of Maestro. And for whatever reason, it's showing me that it says the room is offline, even though it seems the problem seems to be on the Obvio end. So it says the room is offline, even though I have the room online for the event. So it's not letting me enter at all.
So it
Which
would depend
developer
on
did you work with?
This was a while back. I don't know the name of the developer that he worked with in particular. But
So
I've used it several times and it worked fine until yesterday. And our event is Friday. So I'm a little nervous.
How is that? Is it trying to join as a co-host or just as an attendee?
So to simplify the steps, we flick on registration enabled. We use the room reg link, copy and paste that into Google Chrome, but don't open Zoom there. That then gets pasted into their backend user, which gives it control, and then it becomes a co-host in the Zoom meeting once it's entered. So once I enter the link and then they're in their app system, then it comes through the back end. It's worked just fine with the room reg link before, and now it says the room is offline.
The offline page you're getting is an Obvio offline page, right?
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if a screen share would help or the best way to kind of troubleshoot it.
yeah, why not?
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, we do deal with edge cases on these calls. This feels very edge case, but but
You know me, I push buttons and push limits.
Yeah, that's right. If you're getting an Obvio offline page, then it's got nothing to do with Maestro. You know, like it's literally it's literally the Obvio is saying that it's offline. There's no other way that it.
What event is it, Jeff?
It's called Rethink Bullying. Organization is Squabbles. Love that Rosie is making a cameo in the background.
Yeah, that's cool. She was.
The event hasn't started yet. That's the problem.
That's what I wondered. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So if you
how do I test?
if you change the start date to now, and well, you can't change the start date to something in the past. So change the start date to like a minute from now, and then wait for that minute to pass, and then it should work, because if it's using those room reg links, won't work if the event isn't active. I'm well,
yes.
I don't think that they will work if the which room are you working on?
Main stage. I was just trying to test it before the event to make sure everything works well.
So first off, the main stage currently is not active. So I'm going to open it right now. And
it's the first thing that those reg links look for is if the event is active.
Yeah, it's because the event's not active. I mean, I'm going to just try it without that.
Okay.
And
yeah, main stage is showing is open on my end. Not the area is not open, but the room is open. The step-by-step instructions I was following didn't show to open the area, just the room. Would that be correct?
It should be. Give it a try now.
Okay. Give a little refresh here. Sorry. If you want to go on to someone else, that's fine. I have to do a few little gymnastics to get that to work, so I don't want to make everybody hold.
No worries. We're confident that we'll get it working because we haven't changed anything in the last little while.
That's good to know.
On that process.
My heart leapt for a moment.
Yeah,
I'm sure. In a good way.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm pretty confident that it's the.
Still saying the room is offline.
Have you changed the event time?
Blue, did
you change it?
Yeah, I just did.
Okay.
I did. Yeah, I did. And then Blue, I think you did as well. Let's see here. 5:15 just hit. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah, you may.
Yeah, it still says room is offline.
Main stage 1. I'm actually curious because I'm just going to try and enter it as an attendee.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That it should be the same checks. Although the area would need to be online if that's not.
Yeah, it's showing offline for me too. Okay, so that's good news.
In Grant and
The reason
Blue,
I
I'm
say
just
it's
gonna.
good news is because, like, if I'm getting the same experience just as an attendee that you are, it sounds like whoever worked on this didn't actually work with our development team. Probably just kind of is capturing the return of the Zoom URL and figuring out how to use that within your platform, which is fine, or within what you're doing, and just being.
Yeah, I think I personally connected them with a developer. This was like a year ago, maybe. I can't remember who it was offhand.
Did it go
I know
through
I was
me?
part of the conversation. I don't remember if you and I talked about it. I know I started with support, and I know I talked to Chuck, and he's like, "Hey, this is above me." And I think I talked to James real quick for a minute, and then I got referred to someone else. Because I know it was like I made a personal intro to try to make it happen.
Got it.
And I thought they had talked to you at some point, but I don't think I interfaced directly with you or with you, Blue.
Yeah, no, that's.
I just sent.
Like it's outside of my scope.
Grant, I just sent you the step-by-step guide just so you're aware. Blue, I'm not finding your name in the chat where it'll let me send it to you unless you're Obvio, perhaps.
You probably see it as well because of the co-host thing.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's move on to the next question. And if we don't get this figured out on this call, we can Jeff, I'm happy to jump on with you separately.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right. Amy says, just to make sure for Leap, it says 10 Zoom meetings per event. If I'm using Obvio for reoccurring meetings, should I upgrade at 9 meetings to make sure it's seamless?
Yeah, so that is not actually accurate. It's a long story, but essentially that is a reference to the old account or the old platform type, the old billing system. So you were previously allowed to have 10 rooms created inside an event. You can now have unlimited rooms created inside of an event, but you can only have 5 rooms active at any one time across your account. So when we changed our billing mechanism, that was one of the changes that we made. So for you, the question would be, do you need to have all 9 open simultaneously? Or is it like, you know what, I'm going to have 3 open at this time. I'm going to have 2 over here open at that time. I'm going to have 1 open here. I'm going to have 5 open here. I'm going to have 4 open there, whatever. If you don't ever need more than 5 rooms open simultaneously, then you don't need to worry about doing anything. You're not going to need anything. But if you need more than 5 open at one time, then there'll be fees associated with that. And you'll want to purchase an event add-on or an account add-on to increase your capacity. Cool. You're welcome.
It's bugging me out.
It's bugging me out. I hate this thing. Yeah, this is Grant's idea, though. I blame Grant for all of it. I do like that I don't really need here, how about that?
Yeah, oh, wow. You went from one extreme to the other.
Okay, all right. I'm stacking coffee cups here, okay?
Yeah, well, it's the virtual way.
Give me a second.
What?
I think 2 Yetis makes a tripod.
Is this
Hold
better?
on.
Okay, there we go.
Is
So
that
this is
better? How's that? How's that for headroom?
Yeah,
Am I doing
that's
well?
better, yeah. Gee.
All right, there you go. That feels like it's probably a little better.
You're losing digital event credibility as we speak.
Okay, guys, you know.
It's a Insta 360 link is the cute little camera that he's got there, and that actually really is cool. You just have to tweak a little bit whether you want it to try to be clever and track you around the room, because it's actually a little pan tilt zoom head on it, so it actually is physically moving. So it's very cool, and it's a little 4K camera. They look quite good. You haven't got your lights on either, is that right? If he did have his lights on, it would show the camera off even better. So it is a very good little travel.
Do you want me to move it so that I'm actually in the light as well? Do you want me to do that as well? Hold on one second. I think I can do this.
Now that you got your makeshift tripod.
Yeah, I moved my coffee cups. You're welcome.
Okay. That's better.
All right. For those of you who are new on these calls, I promise they don't always go like this.
I feel like I can tease Blue a bit more because I'm in another country, so I'm safe.
I can't balance this stupid thing. All right, there. All right, how's
All right,
that? Is that better? Are you happier now? Here.
I'm not. I'm not happy, but I'm happier. Save us, Heather.
Yeah, so Jeff says companion keeps disconnecting from my ATEM due to a changing IP address. How do I set a static IP to prevent this from happening?
Wow.
I'm going to pretend
another
that's not a question for us.
That's awesome.
I have all the difficult questions. Sorry.
It's funny. But I'm like, as in nothing to do with Obvio at all. It's a stretch when we talk about ATEMs, and now you're talking about an edge case of using the ATEM switcher. So you're using companion.
I'm saying no to this question. You can answer this question at the end. Move it. Next question. Come on.
Okay. What I will.
It was production.
I
was waiting for this to come up at 7 p.m.
Fair enough. We can look at it at the end. But for everyone, the way that Blue and I met is through a thing called officehours.global. And there's a whole community there of geeky people that would love to answer this question. And they meet every single day, 7 a.m. Pacific. And you can post questions any time of the day, and then they'll answer the questions at 7 a.m. Pacific. And so that's a perfect question for them, because I know personally of 5 or 6 people that could give some really good direction on that. But I'm happy to tackle it at the end as well.
All right. So Genevieve said, now that I can log in, she does confirm that she did pay. It sounds like I can host a free event for 500 people, purchase more blocks if more people, with one Zoom room, as I have one computer and multiple screens, and I could disable tech check password waiver so people can automatically join. This is how I do it now on a web page on my website. And now once I connect Keep and Obvio, the tags I create in Marketplace integrate with Keep, and do the tags I create in Keep integrate in Obvio. And then Keep can send my automated email sequences. Then I can offer ticket for future paid events. They purchase off the Marketplace, and then I get the high definition Zoom recordings from the cloud after the event.
Oh, Genevieve Vili, it is so nice to meet you. Okay, so all right.
This is the stream of consciousness.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm there. You are right up to a point. So Marketplace, you can sell your tickets on Marketplace. And to answer the first question, yes, you can host events for up to 500 people, and without having to pay any extra. And that's 500 active attendees. So if you have 100 people who purchased a ticket but then never show up to your dashboard, they don't actually count as part of those 500 people. So if you're doing a free event, as an example, you're probably going to have a pretty high no-show rate, right? So you could, generally speaking, a free event will probably have about a 15 to 35% or show up rate, depending on industry and a whole bunch of other things. So let's just say you have a 50% show up rate. You could have an event for 1,000 people registered and have 500 of them show up and not pay any extra. That's part number one. Those are all a bunch of changes to the billing mechanism that you're referring to, or that you referred to earlier with regards to credits. So that's number one. Number two, you can have them register using a marketplace registration page, and you can set up an email sequence inside of Obvio, not inside. Well, you can set it up inside of Keep, I guess, technically, but that's actually going to get hard. And you can then communicate with them throughout your event within the Obvio platform via email. Now, the second part that you said, the tags will then integrate back into Keep. That doesn't happen. Okay. So all of our service integrations are really one way for the most part. Information comes from Keep, or from HubSpot, or from MailChimp, or from Zapier, and comes into Obvio as it relates to attendee name, attendee email, and attendee tags. And we do have the ability to send some information back to Keep, but we don't sync tags in that way. Keep is the keeper of tags, if you will. Okay. So if you want to have your attendees be communicated with via Keep, what I would recommend you do is set up an opt-in page, and it's a free event because it sounded like it was. If it's a free event, I would set up an opt-in page through Keep or through ClickFunnels or one of those services, get that information into Keep, and set up your campaign with your email sequences inside of Keep, but then use the Obvio service integration for Keep to import those attendees as they register into Obvio automatically, and send your custom URL back into, or your custom login URL for your attendees back into Keep, is stored inside of a custom field. And then you can use your campaigns to email your login URL to your attendees. That's what we do for the most part when we're setting up an account, or when we're setting up an event for Sage, because Keep is the platform where we do all of our communication. So it's just easier for us to do it that way. Okay. So that's the process that I would recommend if you're a Keep user and you want to, and those tags are important. You could do everything inside of Obvio with Marketplace, and then at the end of the event, export an attendee list and kind of do a mass import into Keep and communicate with them after the event inside of Keep. But that just is an extra step, and you may not want to do that. So you do have options. But if it were me, I would 100% just go the Keep route. I did love the stream of consciousness question, though. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So you're saying if you're comfortable, I'm definitely more comfortable with Keep. So just keep all communications there and use it for the thing. And thank you very much. And I also said, you guys have done an amazing job since I haven't been here in a while. Wow. It's so user friendly, just poking around. So nice job for someone that hasn't seen it in a bit.
Awesome. Yeah. I feel like the last time you saw it, it probably had the vomit of tabs across the top that had no rhyme or reason to them, and were just in random orders. The editors are also a lot different than they used to be. because you used to have to fill out a form and then you'd see kind of a preview of what was going on. I remember those days not fondly. So yeah, I'm glad you like it. All right, Heather.
Raphael wants to know, what is the best way to embed video in a way that people will not be able to share? Is it possible to do this with a video that is posted in YouTube?
Not really.
Yeah. What?
Not really. No,
Uh,
because
yeah.
you can
You
in
can
order
share
to be able
unlisted.
to embed it,
Yeah.
it needs to be unlisted, perhaps. But it will normally have the YouTube logo on it,
Yeah.
and you can click the YouTube logo, and that will then open that in a new window, which is in YouTube, and now they can just send that link around, and that's easy. So not really with YouTube, but using a different service like Vimeo or Wistia, or there's any number of video hosting platforms. With Vimeo, I use Vimeo quite a lot, and you can actually you can lock that down where it's not available to view anywhere, and you can even make it that you can't embed it on any other domain name other than the Obvio domain name, and now it won't be able to be played anywhere but that. So that could work, and I think Wistia has a similar thing. You can sort of say where it can and can't be viewed. But the main thing is too that there is no share button on it, whereas with the YouTube player, there's a YouTube logo. You click on that, it'll launch it in the YouTube window, and now you can share it. You can get that easily. So there's lots of things that we can get for free. Doing video hosting that's really secure is not one of them.
Cool.
All right.
Go for it, Heather. Go.
David says Obvio obviously has evolved considerably over last year. Is there now a documented action pathway that takes the new user step by step to create the platform for their virtual live event? What is the current status? And if clear instructions are not available, how soon will they be?
Yeah, great question. Okay, so right now we are in the process of actually taking a portion of our users through an onboarding sequence. It's a series of 8 calls that are happening Tuesdays and Thursdays every week for the next 4 weeks. And what we're doing on those calls, not only are we walking our attendees, our users through the platform for the first time, but we're also, as we do that, recording videos that are going to wind up being embedded into the platform. So you'll probably start to see them. My gut is you'll start to see some of the first videos next week actually show up inside of the platform, so that when you land on certain pages or when you show up in certain areas, there's a little either question mark with a circle or an eye with a circle that you can click on, and it shows you like a 2 to 3 minute long video that explains what you're looking at. So what we're doing with these onboarding calls, we're literally also at the same time doing double duty and setting up those those videos so that we can start to bring them into the platform. Now, if you want to see the recording of the full recording of yesterday's call and where all the rest of them are going to be hosted, I just posted a link in the chat. So all 8 of the onboarding calls in their entirety are going to be hosted there. Everybody who has the free trial has access to that, as do our existing paid users. So if you want to go back and watch yesterday's workshop, you can. For those of you who have used the platform, yesterday was very much an intro session, right? It was, this is what the organization page is. This is what the event page is. This is how you create an event. This is how you select a template. This is a high-level overview of what the sidebar navigation does and where you can find different things. I think our next video is all about getting attendees into the platform. So it's going to be a little heady because there's like 5 or 6 different ways that you can get into the platform, but we're going to be creating a short video that explains each of them. So Zapier, MailChimp, HubSpot, Keep, adding an attendee manually, importing an attendee with a CSV file. All of that stuff is going to be covered in our next video, as well as how to get team members into the platform as well. And then next week, we have 2 more classes planned. I feel like one of them is Zoom, right? All of the details about how to use Zoom inside the platform. And that's when then we start getting into the design of Obvio and how to actually customize the various dashboards. We covered some of that yesterday at a high level. So if you're just getting started, it's a 2-hour class, but it's well worth it. So there you go.
Great. Heather has a question on how to use the A10 Pro to create it as a video source for an evergreen replay.
I'm looking at his brain. Thanks. Oh my God. Okay. Maybe I'll just hire someone for the hour to teach me how to do this ATM mini for the source for evergreen replay. Anybody?
Well, so
Let me, yeah.
yeah.
You go.
So let me just make sure that I understand the question. You're wondering how to have an evergreen replay of something that took place in the past. So you have a video recording of that something, and you want to use the ATEM Mini as the video source to feed into Zoom, and then press play on and allow it to play into Zoom. That's kind of what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, per your suggestion months ago, when I asked my client wants to do an evergreen challenge, we're right now in the middle of recording that.
Yep.
And now we're in that place of, oh, let's do this.
Oh,
and
good.
you suggested.
I'm so glad I suggested this. Okay.
You suggested hardware, the ATM Mini Pro, and so he's got that. And
yep. So what you need to do, I would have suggested one other thing in there, which is you have to connect a computer to the ATEM Mini Pro where you are playing the video.
We can
right?
do that.
So whether
That's no
you're
problem.
playing that video in QuickTime or in, Keynote or in QLab or in any number of other video playback pieces of software,
Okay.
You can do that. Connect it to the ATEM Mini on the HDMI in, and then you take the USB-C port for the ATEM Mini and plug that into another computer. And that other computer is your host computer. That's the computer that you are hosting Zoom on.
Okay.
Okay. And then what you do is you load up Zoom and you select the ATEM Mini as your video source and also as your microphone source.
Okay. Okay.
And then you need to make sure that on the ATEM Mini, depending on which input you plug it into, let's say you plug the computer into input number 1. Right above the number 1, there's 2 up and down arrows, and right above that, there's an on-off switch. You want to make sure that the on is turned on because that is the ability for the audio from the HDMI cable on your computer to come into the ATEM Mini and then be used as part of the ATEM's audio program mix.
Repeat that last part. So I know it's on, but tell me where it is again, because I'm not looking at one right
It's
now.
right above the number 1, right? Like on the 1. So input 1, bottom left-hand corner of the ATEM Mini.
Okay.
Right above that, there's 2 up and down arrows. And above that, there's on off.
Okay.
So it's 2 buttons above the number 1 in the bottom left corner of the ATEM Mini. You want to make sure that the audio source is on, and that's what that on off is.
Okay. Okay. Audio source on. Okay. Got that.
Okay. And you may need to make sure that the speaker source or the output source of the computer that's playing the video is outputting it via the HDMI cable.
Output.
Right.
Okay. Output HDMI. Okay.
Because the default is probably going to be your speakers. And when you plug in the HDMI cable, it may automatically switch to the speakers being where the HDMI cable being where the computer sends audio, or you may have to set that manually.
Okay, so output goes to HDMI.
Output audio goes to HDMI. Is the playback computer a Mac or PC?
He's a Macer. He's a Mac.
Okay, so he's going to go into system preferences. He's going to go to the sound panel, and he's going to go to the output. And with the computer plugged into the A10 Mini via HDMI, he's going to see something that says Black Magic on it.
Got
He's
it.
going to want to select that on the output panel.
Okay. All right.
All of this is recorded. You can watch this back a second time if you have issues.
Okay.
All right. And those steps should get you to the point where the input for your Zoom computer can be the video from your ATEM, and the microphone can be the audio from the ATEM. And when you press play on the video, it will appear in Zoom.
Appear in Zoom. Got it. And no shared screen.
Don't share screen. Nope.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, because that's going to be obvious that you're playing back a video. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're trying to hide it, right? That's what the goal
That's
is.
the whole point. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think on the next question too, on the same kind of the same genre, Heather, is that I might just want to ask it real quick. So same thing, challenge, free challenge, obviously evergreen. I'm trying to have it so everyone has the same password, so it's easier. I don't really need tokens or anything like that. I went into the settings and said, everyone has the same password, but then I did something wrong because it's still asking for tokenization but y'all use that with Offer Camp, I think, and y'all have just everyone has the same password.
Yeah. So everyone has the same password is basically, it's under events and attendee default password.
I added that. I did that.
That's all you got to do. Now, here's the thing. If you have attendees who have already logged in and created you know what? You may have to turn off the password setting.
Okay, right there. That's it.
Yeah. So if it's asking them to set up a password the moment they log in, that's the problem.
Got it. Okay. If I unenable that, and then I send them when they register their unique, just the Obvio link, right?
Yep.
And then where do I tell it? Obviously, I'll tell them in the email, but where can I tell them just put the password of 123?
Yeah. So what's your event? What's the
It's,
organization name?
The organization is Love American Homes. Yep. And then it's not that one, the one that's live. They're in the middle of it right now.
All right. So you're going to want to go to the login page, and right here, right up below the logo,
okay,
there's a description text, and you would say, please log in using the email address you registered with and use the password whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And then you click save, and there you go. And you're going to want to check in password disable. That's it.
We'll go ahead and put it back because they're in the middle of that one. Yeah. We're on day 3, but for the next one, I'll do it. Okay. And is that okay because they're going to use this one for the next one, and we can go ahead and disable for the next round, right?
Yep. Yeah. Are they using the same dashboard, or are they using this other dashboard, track B?
I suggested to use the same one next week.
I would not do that.
Okay. Why?
Personally, if I was doing that, because you're going to lose information, right? So I personally like to have all of my attendees if I'm doing this multiple times. I mean, you could do it the same one. I guess it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter.
Okay. Is there anything technical that they're trying to do this like every other week?
Yeah, then just do the same one. Okay. Just have it be a really long event.
Yeah. Okay. No, that was great. I was missing that last section, design, login, take, no, it was design password.
Design password, or actually it's check-in password disable, and then design login right below the logo, add the text that tells them to use what password to use.
Okay, cool. I check in password. Okay, cool. That was it. I appreciate it. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Later, Elizabeth. Thanks for joining us. All right, Heather, go ahead.
Iris says, are we able to add attendees to Obvio during an event?
Yes. Next question.
Then we end up back at Jeff.
Damn it.
All roads lead to Vili. Sorry.
Hey Jeff, before when you were getting the offline, did you have it open? Like, was the Zoom meeting
not the meeting. The room was open, the area was not open.
There you go.
Touchdown. There it is.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
You didn't actually have it. You hadn't had the meeting started. It needs to be actually hosted.
Jeff,
He wants to
right.
slap me. You can just hear it, can't you? Go ahead, Blue. Sorry.
No, it's not. It's
been
not
a
that.
long week.
No, it's not that. It's been a long day. I apologize if that came across like that. What I was going to say is this is not just for Jeff. This is actually for. I'm gonna phrase this for everybody. In order for Obvio to let attendees into Zoom, it technically looks for 4 things to be true. If it's a button on your dashboard that is connected to Zoom, when your attendee clicks on it, Obvio does 4 checks in advance before it lets attendees in. And if any one of these fail, it goes to an offline page. So check number 1 is your event active? In other words, is the date and time between the start and end dates of your event? If that's not true, the attendees are always going to get an offline page. So when we see somebody saying everything's on, but I'm getting an offline page, that's the first thing we check. And it's usually where the problem is. Like the dates weren't set right. And the event ended 5 minutes ago or something like that, right? So that's the first thing we check. The next thing that has to be true is the room has to be open using the toggle on the room side. And the area needs to be open. That's the third thing. And then the fourth thing that Obvio checks is it checks to make sure that there's at least one person in the room. Because if the room is open and the area is open, but there's nobody in there, what does that mean? It means you're not in there as the host. And for the most part, most of our clients don't want attendees in there before they're in there, right? So Obvio won't let anybody into Zoom until at least one person is in there. So from the dashboard, it checks for all 4 of those things. Now, from the room registration link that Jeff is using, it checks for 3 of those things. It doesn't check to see if the area is open, but it does check for the other 3. Is the event active? Is the room open? And is there at least one person inside that room? And if there isn't somebody in the room, then the attendee, when they enter their first name and last name and email address on that room registration page, is going to get an offline message. And that's probably what was going down for you, Jeff.
I think so. There's not a way to, really, gotcha. Yeah, that's missing in their step-by-step.
I still don't know who they are, so I want to dig back to that one, to be honest.
Sure.
But that's not on you. That's on my team. Awesome.
We had another one come in from Genevieve.
Score, ready.
How do you add people to your event when you are live if it's a free event? If they're free, register and receive automated email with the link, they can just join if tech check and waiver is disabled, or is there something manual that's supposed to happen?
So Genevieve, for you, something that I would suggest that you consider for your free event, and what I'm about to share with you only works for free events. Okay, this same thing isn't a feature that you can use for paid events, but it works really nicely for free events. So inside of your dashboard, on the design page, or in the design section, there's something called sign up. And sign up is disabled by default, but you can enable it. And then once you do, hey, Jeff, did you notice that there's attendee rules under the sign up page? Did you get that?
I did. Yeah. I've not had a time to play with it since the event's coming up on Friday, but I'm super excited about that. Thank you.
Yep. Cool. No worries. All right. So what happens when you have a sign up page, Genevieve, is on the actual login page for your attendees, there is the ability to log in, but then you can have this text right here that in my case says not registered. Click here to register for free, right? Because this is a free event that we're doing right now. So on the login page, you can customize what the sign up for free text is. And on the sign up page itself, you can customize the heading as well as the first name, last name, email, and button. You can do some customization here. But from an attendee perspective, you can then share the link, the main login URL for your event, in my case, offercamp.obv.io. And if they're not registered, they can click sign up. They can put their first name, their last name, and they can put an email address and type in sign me up for OfferCamp. And not only will that sign them up, but it also automatically logs them in to the platform. So in my case, for this particular challenge, we don't have, or for this particular event, we don't have any of the check-in steps turned on. I have password, waiver, and tech check all turned off for this. So when I did it, I landed right on the dashboard. But if any of those other steps were turned on, they would wind up on those steps first when they logged in. So sign up, for those of you who are doing free events, is a really simple way to, on the login page, just put a sign up button that you can easily use for your attendees to just get quick access to the dashboard. So I would consider using that during the event. And then they don't even have to wait for the email to come, right? They go straight in. Sweet.
All right. David needs guidance on connecting Digimic to ATEM MIDI Pro. Have not yet managed to get it to function. Sweetwater was no help.
A DJI mic.
Oh, my bad.
That's good. Which is that's the mic that Blue was raving about.
I love this mic.
Best ever.
Love
Best
it.
ever.
It's so awesome.
So much better than the Rode Go. So there's on the A10 Mini. I'm just going to stop his sharing. A tip for Zoom meetings: don't share your screen and then just walk off. as Blue just did. Yeah. So you've got that's right. I think Blue's actually going to get his. There on the A10 Mini, there's an eighth inch jack or like a microphone plugs on there. Yeah, there's two of them. That's it. And then on the, have you got yours now, Blue? He's just had to dust them off.
No, I used them this past week.
Okay, nice.
It's not funny. I don't just use it when I do the demo at TVE. I do it elsewhere too. You bugger.
It's not funny. It's like I've just had a go at his child. Of course, it's not funny. Of course, I've used this.
I've got one of those.
It's really special to me.
They're very special.
I've got them charged up. Everything should work, but I have not yet managed.
So when you turn it on, and it's not working for you, is the receiver seeing the remote, like on the DJI, like on the screen on the receiver? Yeah. Are you getting signal from the microphone?
I believe I am. Can you see that
Yes.
moving?
Yep, can see it.
Yep,
Yeah, the
I
VU
can.
is working.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you're getting signal from that, then when you plug them into the microphone on the ATEM Mini, you have to, don't forget to turn, I mean, it's a silly thing, but you have to turn on, you have to press the on button.
Of
right?
course.
So it has
Right.
to be red.
Are you troubleshooting this, David, or had you not got that far yet? As in, you hadn't connected it.
I got the equipment in October and have not yet managed to get an audio signal coming through from the device, the DJI mic to the ATEM to something that I can hear. So basically I'm getting video and no audio. And I just, I don't know. It would be nice if there was some actual document that, mapped it out. But Sweetwater, they sell the equipment, but they're not sure how it works.
There's a microphone input on that as well, right, Blue?
Yeah.
As an 8-inch.
Check.
And so you could be connecting to the wrong.
Check 1, 2. Yeah.
I mean, there's the receiver and the transmitter, so.
So
I just want to note to everyone.
Are you hearing me right now? Are you hearing me?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's.
To the out.
Was that from that? Were you hearing that?
No.
Did I do the wrong thing? Black Magic Design. Hold on. It's definitely coming through this. Is that
Okay. No, it is. It just, the tapping wasn't. Maybe the Zoom's cutting that out.
Oh, maybe Zoom's cutting out the tapping. That would be awesome.
Yeah. I think it is.
Selected as a speaker. Hold on. Let me see if I turn it off.
I just want to note to everyone that's, playing along at home that when Jeff asked quite a technical production question, Blue was very quick to move on. Now, when it comes to one of his favorite little toys, he's like, yes, let's spend a good 15 minutes talking about the microphone that I love so much.
No, I mean, it's just working. I didn't do anything. I did have to turn up the volume inside of the A10 Mini.
You do. Although
I have a list of toys.
I noticed that.
Is there a list of toys we can ask about?
Yeah, that's right. If it's on Blue's list.
That was at the.
That's
Okay,
what I was
all
going
right.
to say.
All right,
Is there a
fine.
list
What
here?
was Jeff's question?
No. Well, let's get to the bottom of this. Just so people know that maybe you've joined this. I get to talk over Blue because he's really soft. The thing with these calls is that we often do have we try to focus our attention on Obvio related questions at the start. Sometimes that moves into kind of a event, digital event questions in general, and we start talking about those. And then we generally leave our really nerdy technical, production questions to the end. And so that's where we're at right now, just so people know, and very welcome to hang around and enjoy the entertainment. But both Blue and I are quite technical and we don't mind geeking out on some of this stuff. So that's where we're at. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't go back and ask an Obvio question because we're still here. So please do that.
It also doesn't mean that you can't just leave because you're like, I'm done.
Exactly. There's a high probability you will not miss anything of
value at this point
of subsequence.
Is that less low than it was?
That is less low.
That's less low. Okay, well, look at that.
Yeah,
there's a receiver gain on the little DJI that you can actually boost the gain. So look at that.
I'm so happy you're learning new things about your little toy that you've got.
It just works when I plug it into my computer, which I do all the time.
Yes.
All
right. So David was showing the output and the headphones out. So we're just making sure that was on.
Make sure it's not on the headphone one. David, have you opened this ATEM software control?
I have not.
Okay, you're probably going to want to do that because here's the thing. This I had to do a few things. So mic one, the button that's on the device it's this, right? It's the same thing. And this allows you to also just turn up the gain inside of the ATEM right away. And then you can also boost it a little bit over here because it is a little bit low coming in from this doohickey, although it's now probably a little bit hot. So you can play around with the software, but also the nice thing about doing that is you can see the levels inside of the ATEM.
I see.
Right. So the software control panel for the ATEM it's a free download. If you don't already have it, you should download it. It's awesome. And it's where you can start to get a little bit more geeky inside of using these things. But it gives you a little bit more granular control over the mic settings inside the ATEM or the gain structure that you can use for the Blackmagic itself. And then the other thing that I did is on the receiver, I swiped down on the screen and I scrolled to the right to get to receiver gain. And then I turned the gain up because Grant said that I was low. So I turned it up as well in there. So I'm using quite a bit of gain. I'm using quite a bit of volume from the ATEM mic, but it seems to be coming through now for you guys. Is that all right? So I mean, it doesn't sound as nice as this does, probably.
No, it doesn't. It's clean.
Yeah, but if that doesn't get you there, like if when you open the software control, thank you. If that doesn't, if you're not seeing the levels, like the meters, the volume meters inside of the software control, then you have something wrong with either the mic input on the Blackmagic or the transmitter or the receiver. Sorry, the receiver on the output signal or cable, maybe. Like it could be the cable. You're seeing no, you don't use that side.
That's got the out. Oh no, and that's the other side. It's yeah.
Yeah. But you could have a problem with you could have a bad cable. Like you kind of have to look at the different things that you're plugged into. So if it's not working on mic one, I've had ATEM minis where one of the two mic inputs isn't working properly, but the other one works fine. So try it in the mic 2 port, right? That's something that I would give a try to. So there you go. All right.
Thank you.
Let's go back to Jeff, I guess. What was his question? Did Jeff leave? Oh my God. Did he?
He was getting pouty.
But Heather has another question about an ATEM.
I do, while you're in there. So I put in the chat, Blue, the link to the ATM, like a big one, so you can point and visual. It's hard for me to do audio with visual. Can you just point me to on the output and input?
Okay, sure.
No, it's on. Yeah. So I didn't understand when you
This
said
right here.
selecting.
That needs to be on.
That needs to be on. Okay.
Because that's the audio from input 1.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
And that's assuming that you're plugging the HDMI cable from the Mac into input 1.
Okay.
The audio for that needs to be turned on. That's it.
Okay. See? Thank you. Grant, I noticed his energy got lower when he did that one. So he really went up when he was doing the microphone.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like, oh.
The ATEM is a given. Like that's just, we love the ATEMs, but we've talked about it for years.
Yeah.
Whereas
the microphone's
that
sexy.
DJI mic, that mic is something else.
I love that mic. I love that microphone. It's so awesome.
It's not. It's
that
not
microphone. That microphone went to Mexico with me. We had a good time.
Exactly, Steve. Exactly. Drone mics. It's like I have the Rode Go because for two reasons.
It's Australian.
It's Australian. Exactly. Thank you. It's an Australian company. It's an Australian microphone company that are all about making microphones. It's pro. Exactly, Stephen. Thank you.
Wait, hold on. It's not pro. Are you kidding me? Give me a break.
It's in the name.
On.
It's in the name.
Don't use that as the reson, though. I mean, listen, I understand it's Australian. That makes sense. It's pro. Come on.
So you are like, oh, the best microphone to use is from a drone company. They're the guys. They're the guys that know how to do microphones.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't think it's any different. Like the sound quality is no different than the Rode Wireless Go.
It's
or
not quite
Go Pro, which is actually, you know what's really funny? You know what I plug into the transmitter for the DJI?
Is a Rode microphone.
A Rode Lab.
Yeah. Because surprisingly, that drone company doesn't have labs.
Yeah, well, I know it is surprising. I just like, okay, I'm just gonna say it. The main reason that I like this thing is the case.
It's the
I just
case.
like the case. And I like the fact that I can plug in the case once and it charges all three things on the inside. That's it.
For 5 years. It lasts so long.
I'm not telling you. I'm not talking to you anymore.
No, it is good. They're both
I like
very
that
good
he gives me a hard time about this every time I bring it up because I love this thing. It makes me so happy. And I use it like once a year.
That's right. Same. All right. No, it doesn't last five.
But he should be happy that I have this sitting on my desk as well.
There
So, you know, come on.
In your museum.
No, it's
Oh, look, it's following you. Uh-oh. Oh, keep going. It's trying to find your face. That was his camera saying, "Don't turn away from me."
See, there you go. I have all of them. They all probably still work.
Nice.
Anyway, I don't know.
All right.
I like the DJI one better.
There are no further questions. I love how people really stay on just in case.
Just in case there's something of value. Oh, Jeff is back. Jeff, did you want to go back to the thing that we were going to answer for you at the end?
That would be awesome. So I had one issue on the Obvio side. The IP address thing, if you want to, that's fine. I was working on the other Obvio in Maestro thing as well.
Okay, the IP address thing is actually pretty straightforward. I don't know if you've set a manual IP in the control software. You haven't done that?
I have, and it seems to be still switching. So I don't know why it would do that, or if there's some weird thing.
So in the
that was the whole
setup,
point of setting it. Yes.
in the ATEM setup, you have to go. There it is in front of me. You got to make sure that you're hitting. You could change it, but if it's still set to DHCP, then it will change. But if it's set to static, and saved, then yeah.
Gotcha. I'll go back in and
make sure it's set to static IP and choose. You may want to make sure it's not conflicting with anything else.
It's wanting to default back to all zeros. So I think there's something going on there.
No. Yeah, no, you need to reset that to an actual IP address. Have you got one that you would use?
Yeah, I type it in and save it, but for some reason it's defaulting back to the all zeros. Like it'll save, but then at some point it seems to revert back.
Are you making sure you're setting the subnet mask as well? So that would be 255.255.255. And then setting your gateway as your router. So you want to set all those correctly.
That's coming from the router, you said? From the subnet would be on there?
Yeah, the gateway is the router. But essentially what you would want to do is when you're looking at it and it's set to DHCP, you can basically copy all those same numbers.
Okay.
When you put it in as static, and that should stay then.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Have a bit more of a play with that. But that, yeah, I mean, I've used that a lot, and that works fine. So
I appreciate it.
If you look at your Mac settings, you can. Are you on a Mac or you're on a Mac?
Yeah, I'm on a Mac.
Look at your Mac settings and just grab what your router address is.
Okay.
As well as the subnet mask from the DHCP settings from your Mac, and that'll probably help. Do you know what your router is? What kind of router is it?
It just was new, brought by the cable company like last week when I moved. I'm not sure. I'd have to take a look.
So the only thing about this is, if you're setting a manual IP address, you're going to want to make sure that Grant said it, but you're going to want to this is really, really key, that you set the IP address to something that won't be assigned by the router. Mm-hmm. So you have to get into the router and find out what the DHCP settings are for the router, because it'll give you most likely a range of IP addresses that it'll assign, right? So it'll be like 1 to 100 or something along those lines,
sure.
Right?
Okay.
So you need to make sure that the static IP address that you give it is outside of that range.
Okay.
And if your router isn't limited to a range, you probably want to, and there's most likely a way to do that.
I think that's my issue. I think I'm giving it something in the range, and when that switches up, then that's no longer free, and it's resetting everything. That
because the DHCP servers aren't. I typically, and Grant, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm 99% sure that they do not check to see if the address is in use on the network. They only check to see if it's been assigned by itself.
Jeff, the other thing you could try would be to just pick a high IP address in the range if it's not limited, because it assigns from the bottom and starts counting up. So if you pick one that's like 225, then you might have a better chance of not being bumped into a reassignment.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, you could do like 250 or something right at the top of the range.
250 as far as the IP address, not the subnet then. Okay.
Yes, the IP address.
Yeah, the subnet and the router or gateway. If you see router or gateway as settings, they're the same thing.
Okay.
And you want to make those the same as what your computer's router is.
Gotcha.
Right? And make the subnet mask the same as what your computer's is. And that'll get you there.
And make sure that the device is connecting in the same way. So if your computer is connected over a wire and this device is connecting over wireless, you might be in two different ranges. It's not often, but it happens.
Yeah. That'd be more of a corporate setting. Like if he's just using a home router, that's probably not the case. Probably not the case.
Well, they put 5G and 2.4G on different subnets sometimes. So it happens.
There you go.
Don't question Steve Blue. He clearly knows a lot more about it than you do.
My bad. I apologize. I don't know what I was thinking.
There you go.
All right.
Just trying to be a helpful human.
Apparently, aren't we all today? This is awesome. All right. What was the other question there, Vili?
Oh yeah, you had something about Obvio.
Well, now I'm typing my gateway number in, and no, I was having an issue. I'm just giving y'all guys a lot of crap today. All right, it says I got the wrong network settings. Let me switch screens. The other thing I was having a problem just updating the event time. So it was saying when the event was online, it was saying it was offline. I don't know if there's something here I'm missing. Can I share this with you real quick?
Yeah, go.
Okay.
I did notice that you hadn't set a time zone, which
it wasn't wanting to save and update. So here, obviously the event is online. It's got stuff plugged in. And then let me see if I can grab this room reg real quick. Of course, Zoom screen share is blocking everything I need to see. All right, let's see here. Oh, there we go. Now it's coming up. That's strange. Hopefully this will work.
It's not going to work yet. Before you press anything.
Oh yeah,
Because
I've
you
got
see the number of attendees in there is 0. The room needs to be started.
right. And there's not a way to do that while I'm in this current Zoom meeting with you guys. So I guess I can't test that piece right now.
Let me start it for you. And then at least it's going.
Thank you. Let me know when you're good to go.
You're going to want to, if you just, rather than relying on him, look at Obvio and wait until the attendee number changes to 1.
Gotcha. There we go.
Because he'll be, no, wait.
Oh.
No, that was the room number. That's 1. The attendee number is still 0.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking in the wrong spot.
Yep.
Hang on. I'm not close there yet. Hang on.
Attendees is not dynamic, is it?
It is. Should be.
Yeah, it is. Hang on, getting there.
So there's a couple delays that are taking place on that front though. Zoom's number doesn't update right away, and we're relying on something in Zoom to tell us how many attendees are actually in the event. And that can take up to 30 seconds to update. So that's where it's different.
I've got it open now.
And now you see there's 1 attendee and it changed from join. Yeah, there you go.
All right, let's see if this will. Ah, there we go. Looks like it's doing something. Perfect. I think that's what we're looking for.
Cool.
All right, thanks, guys.
The Maestro thing work? Maestro thing. Kind of want to see that.
Yeah.
Do you want me to just pull up the instructions real quick to that? Is it helpful?
No, just open it up. Join it. We'd be interested to see.
Join it? Okay.
Can you do that, or you haven't got it open?
Yeah, give me just a second.
Oh, they're copying the join URL. I see what's going on.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
All right.
Tricky.
For that attendee.
Let me share this again. Okay.
Huh.
I'm going to grab this. Sorry, Zoom is blocking what I needed to see.
Hey, Grant, can I, hey, sorry guys. I actually have to bolt for another meeting. Feely, sorry if we gave you too much of a hard time.
Yeah, that's okay. I love the back and forth. It keeps it fun. Thanks, Blue.
Yeah, you bet, guys. And for everybody else who's still hanging out, thanks for being with us this week. If you are joining us for the onboarding sessions, I believe tomorrow's call is at 2 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be recorded though, and if you can't make it, and it will be added to the same page that I shared in the chat earlier today, which I'll include in the email for tomorrow's call. All right, Grant, I'm out. I'll let you take it from here.
Great. Thanks, Blue. See ya.
Did you want me to continue with that, Grant, or move on to
you can,
else?
yeah. I'm interested. Just
okay.
Just jump us in to when you join. Be interested, because then it sort of ties into OBS, right?
Yeah, it does. So it's controlling OBS elements in Zoom with some proprietary stuff that they have. So this is where I've copied the RoomReg link.
Mm-hmm.
See what's going on here. I'm getting an error. So here's the little step-by-step guide I'm following. So we go here, we grab enable registration. click to copy the registration URL. Obviously, I've done that. Let me just do that again, just in case something went weird. Open that in a new tab. Okay, and then the next thing is register the user. So there we go. I'll retitle this because it's going to create a backstage user, so that way I don't get confused. It's going to work on opening this up. There we go. And then it would put me in. So that's going to give Maestro, which is controlled via Stream Deck, backstage access co-host to be able to pin and spotlight and do some different things from the Stream Deck app. It's really versatile. And then it can do some different production elements as a part of that. It's sort of similar to like a Zoom OSC, but a little more user-friendly. And then what Zoom OSC wasn't back in the day. And then
so you've still got to copy that. You've got to
background.
copy that link and then put it in, right? You've got to copy the link of that.
Yeah. So the next step here, it's going to obviously boot me out of that meeting, but I would click and cancel here so Zoom doesn't open up. I would copy that in the browser and then use the backstage button to go ahead and join that. So there's where I was a moment ago, just to try to show you what the interface looked like. Then there will be a Maestro browser that pops up, and that just stays behind OBS and controls everything in the background.
And you can do that now, can't you? You can still do that while you're on this call?
I think so. Since you have the Zoom
it's
room
not
open.
using Zoom.
Yeah, let me see here, because okay, to remember where I left off. So I did that. Cancel so Zoom doesn't open up. Okay, I copied that link. Good, and then we're going to hit my little backstage button over here on my Stream Deck. Include that there. There we go. So now it's logging me in. This is a problem on their side, which I need to reach out to the developer. In fact, I actually messaged him a minute ago to see if he could chat, because now it's asking me to register again. And of course, that's going to cause a problem.
Right.
So this is the piece, this is the second roadblock that I've hit in the last 24 hours to using this with Obvio. And I'm hoping I can troubleshoot it. I've got a tech check tomorrow morning with my team, and then the event launches 9 a.m. on Friday.
Right.
We've got everything set up for this and for Obvio. So I don't know if you have any ideas of how to get around this roadblock, but
no, that's their own page there. So I'm not sure why they're asking for that.
And when was the last deploy? Recently?
For us or for them?
For you. Because you probably haven't changed any. Well, I was thinking Grant probably hasn't changed anything and their thing broke. So it's probably on their end.
I think it is. Yeah. This is their page that's asking for the registration. So yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm using a newer version of it that has some additional capabilities. I'm sort of in their beta group. So I'm one version behind what the new beta is that's unstable, and ran into it here. So yeah, I'm going to see if I can move one step back and then get the capability.
Yeah, great.
Hey, Grant, I have a quick question before we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So when are there, so I'm doing the free challenge, and we're just going to keep it open. They're going to do another one in another week or whatever, but we can end the meeting, right? But just keep the date open. That's the only thing we need to do. So tomorrow is day 3. They can end the meeting
Yep.
and then that's when the recording kicks in. That's my next question: is when do the recordings kick in?
When do the recordings become available?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Yeah. So it generally takes, they say around 2 times real time for it to be available. So whatever your recording was, if your recording was an hour, they say it'll be about 2 hours for it to be processed and be available. And sometimes it's closer than that. So some people, we need to take that into account, particularly when we're doing full day events. Doing an 8-hour day. Well, technically that could take up to 16 hours for that to be available. And so because it actually has to process on the Zoom servers. But yeah, if it's a couple of hours event, then
Are they available?
generally
So we did day 1 Tuesday, day 2 today, day 3. Does the recordings available the same day? There's only an hour and a half. We only did an hour and a half.
Yes. Yeah, same day. So as soon as you stop the meeting, in fact, as soon as you stop the recording is when it starts to process.
Oh, okay. That's even better.
And Blue doesn't like me talking about this because he can see the inherent risk. But you can actually stop a recording and start it again mid meeting, and it'll start processing the first half of that recording from that point.
That's good to know.
So, and Blue is totally right. He talks about how if you're stopping and starting a recording, there's a good chance that you mess it up and you don't hit record again, and then you're in a world of hurt because you don't have your recording. So he's just like, just let it run and you'll be fine. Just don't touch it. But it's the geek in me that knows that you can stop it and start it, and Zoom will start processing that.
So then that brings me to the next question. I had put in there, I was hoping I would get with Blue. I put in the Facebook or whatever, the community, that I had an issue with design. And then Blue said, oh, that should be fixed. But I guess I didn't do a very good job of explaining. I didn't understand how to change the design, and I never got that answered. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It was on it was very specific. I forgot what y'all call the names of the
templates. You're not sure which one it was?
It was a very specific thing, and he goes, oh, that's fixed, but I guess I was like, I still don't know how to fix it. I'm looking it up. Oh, this is not right. Sorry. I'm trying to find it so you can know what I'm talking about. Okay, design. Here we go. Yeah, right here. Okay. So I don't know if I'm allowed to show my screen or not, but so in y'all's template of this one, I don't know what you call it. Y'all had like a image that went, it didn't have the transparent, it was like the image went all the way here, like a black background.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the part I couldn't figure out how to do.
Yep. Okay. So you're wanting to do a background in just in the panel?
Yeah, in the panel. Thank you. Yes, panel. And that's based on y'all's template, like your template of the template.
You might have been seeing that the it was a color that was there with a opacity. And so if you go into those settings again, yeah, and then further down, see the background opacity, just drag that up a little bit and that'll give you an idea of what we're talking about. And just hit save on that.
Oh.
Right.
Okay. Oh. Can I put an image there, or is that just
no, so you might have been seeing the color and then the image that you might have been seeing was or a texture that you might have seen was from the whole dashboard a whole dashboard background. So at the moment you've got that logo that's in the background
Yeah.
across the whole dashboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's generally not recommended to have text in the background, because of how it kind of pulls the eye a little bit, and it makes it a little bit harder to read the text on top. But what you could do in that panel, in the main panel as well, is change the background opacity. And so now you can sort of bring some, you could do that on both those panels. And that way it'll
You
just
can
help
change
to
the background to darker
go.
because you have this white if you want it as black so it blends in more.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I'm wanting. Whoever's talking.
Yeah, go back down right there.
What
Change
do I
that.
change?
Change it to black. It'll blend in more.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I didn't. Okay, so it's right here. Is that what you're saying? Is that Heather? Okay.
That's right. Yeah, it was Heather. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a little better. It just gives it a little more context.
It's when this is just Heather helping Heather.
Yeah,
circle.
Heather's. Does that look better, right, y'all? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a designer, but I just
It
feel like
does.
it needed some demarcation or some.
Exactly. It does. Yeah. And you may want to change your text to white on that, depending on how dark you go with that.
Yeah, where
that
do I go?
background,
I
but
forgot where
that's
that
working.
part is. Is that here? No.
Yeah. So back in the gear.
Where is it?
Oh, these are posts. So you edit the post styles. So see that button in the middle there, the big edit post styles down.
Oh,
There, yep. Now you can change the text color there, right there. Text color.
no, the
black.
background is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I just didn't know. I didn't know if you wanted to change the text to white, or depending on how you want to go. So what back?
Okay, no, that's fine. Text color. It says white. Oh no, here. You're right.
So
Yeah, I'm not very good at this.
you can see what that's. So you see the
Better.
titles. Yeah, you have to sort of play around with those, to get that right.
Oh, where's the? How do I get the copy to be white?
You were there. Go back out of here. Back edit post styles at the top where you were. Yeah, that's it. And now the top, blog content there, text color there, that one.
Oh,
That's
okay.
it.
Oops, that didn't work.
It depends on. Just go down. I wonder if that is actually been set to black in the blog post. Just go down to another blog post and see if it.
I don't
Oh,
know.
you haven't got another one. It might have inherited the color from something that you've copied and pasted, perhaps. So you play around with that. You can go back into that individual post and check the color on it.
Color, huh? You're right. It says blood content, but
so that's in general. But it may have copied in.
Welcome.
See how it could be black there.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. I mean, how do I change the background image from out of that?
Oh yeah, you were there. So over on the panel on the left. Yep, that gear. Sorry, no, the gear on the right. Yep, that one there. Yep, click that. And see that dashboard background.
I've got it. Oh, that looks cleaner. Does that look cleaner? Okay.
Yeah.
That looks better.
There you go. You can have a play around with that.
Thanks, guys. That looks way cleaner.
Yeah, it's cleaner. Yep.
All right. That's only 2 questions I had for this client.
Great. All right.
Guys.
I think we've slowly lost people through the process.
Thanks for help with the 8 to many, because I know
Yeah, of
y'all
course.
talk about it all the time, but I really don't understand it.
Yeah, you just got to play around some more, right? But you got the right gear, so
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah. And we're doing this evergreen thing, so we'll see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite interesting. But
Hey,
thank
Grant,
you
do you always suggest a Facebook group as far as community engagement along with dashboard, or have you tried other
Not necess-
forms of community management for like membership type events?
Yeah, so it depends on what the key purpose is that we're wanting for it to achieve. And I tell you, one thing that's really good to have is a backup communication method to your attendees, right? So apart from email, is a way that you can kind of do an instant message to people. And so on lots of our events, we use Telegram. We use Telegram for that. And the reason for that too is that you can set a channel, do a Telegram channel, and it can be a push only. Like it's it's not a discussion, it's not a chat group where people are chatting with each other. It's just really a notification method, and that's particularly good for during your event. Anything changes, or you just want to do last minute kind of, hey, remember, we're going to start a half an hour earlier tomorrow, or whatever it is, right? Lunch is going to go a little bit longer today. Whatever, you can push those kind of instant messages out to people. It's a really good way. And then touch wood, if Zoom went down or something, you've got a way that you can communicate with people. So it's particularly helpful to have that. Then as far as community building, I think that Facebook works quite well, but I think it is suffering from some bad PR, and people are generally moving sort of away from it. I tell you, a big one that people are using more for community engagement stuff now is Discord. Discord was really big in the gaming, online gaming circles, but it's becoming much more mainstream. Discord is a platform for community building, and it allows channels, for different discussion. You can do forum discussion boards, you can do live chat, live audio rooms, some video rooms. There's quite a bit that you can do around that. And so it's just another one to explore is Discord. But yeah, I definitely feel like, depending on what you're trying to achieve, if it's something that lives on and it's an ongoing community, then that I think is distinct from just your event communication. And so event communication, I think, it's really helpful to have another avenue to your attendees. And so Telegram works really well for that, and it scales. So even like some of the Tony Robbins events will use a Telegram group. It'll have 30,000 people in it, and it works great. So,
and then you just put the link for everybody to join that on the actual dashboard, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could do it in your email that goes out. You could have a link. Make sure you connect to, Telegram or whatever. Often we put QR codes on the dashboard as well, because people are generally going to use their phone to connect with that. So that's a great way of doing it. Having a QR code that takes them straight to the Telegram group, or or WhatsApp or whatever. We use WhatsApp quite a lot as well. So
thanks for that.
Yeah. Cool. All right. I didn't think we'd last this long, but I feel like I made up for being late. Am I rehired, Heather?
I'll give you this pass.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So if you were in the in those onboarding calls, you'll get an email about that for tomorrow. And otherwise, we'll be back here again next Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific. Sorry, 8 a.m. Eastern. I'm not even going to tell you what it is in Pacific because it's too early. 5 a.m. It's a bit nasty. But it's that's a nicer one for me. Yeah. you have to join the watch the video afterwards. So yeah, great. Well, thank you everyone. Another good call. Have fun playing with Obvio and reach out to us on help if you need any assistance in between time. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.